Hi, friends. Um, Welcome to the seventh holy night. Welcome to the last day of 2023, at least here in the Western Northern Hemisphere. And this holy night is about Venus going retrograde in the sign of Leo at the very end of Cancer. So, for those of you that haven't been with us yet, um, I am reading a transcript from Ellias Lonsdale, who's the progenitor of star Genesis. He is my astrological grandfather. I was a student, am a student of Mark Borax, and I'm a certified soul level astrologer with a private practice here in Longmont, Colorado. And I'm going to be sharing with you a transcript from Elias about the seventh holy night. And so, without further ado, here we go. So, we're coming to the seventh holy night. And we correlate these with the months of the year, the signs. The months of the signs, and this one happens at the very, very, very last moment of the month of Cancer, because it's actually, this is Anne speaking now, it's actually on June the 23rd, which seems like it's after Cancer, and it's right before the sign of Cancer ends, which is quite significant, and he's going to go on to explain that, so I'm going to go back to the transcript. This one happens at the very, very, very last moment of the month of Cancer, which is the month we're dealing with here. The very last moment, literally, of that month. And it's Venus going retrograde, so called, in 29 degrees of Leo, right in the midst of the moon nodes changing sign, right in the midst of the eighth holy night that we'll deal with soon, tomorrow, happening very close to that. What will happen is that at the end of the month of Cancer, beginning of the month of Leo, this coming year, there will be the biggest shifting time of the year. And part of it will be Venus going retrograde at 29 Leo. The Chandra symbol of that degree is a broken sword. And a broken sword is an image most of all from the story of the Holy Grail and the story of, the story of Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. The whole story of those times. And what it represents is the point when we cannot go on as we were, that the sword we've used to defend ourselves is broken, that the spell of the old is broken, that nothing that always used to help us and keep us going now and only hinders us and drags us backwards. And again, as we've been seeing with each of these, that is what breaks the spell. We're concerned with breaking a spell that we're all under. We're concerned with getting ourselves and each other out of a state that is desperately out of sync. We're concerned with the last minute turnaround, a miraculous shift. Every one of these is involved with that. It will not go away, this theme song. But this one is going to take us through Venus. And so, here we go with Venusia. Once upon a time, we knew how to love, and all of our best soul work went into discovering how to love, and loving with our whole being, which meant giving of ourselves ceaselessly and asking nothing in return. That is the principle of divine love, of agape. And eros, human, personal, earthly love, was always conceived as being kind of a final precipitation into form of what agape brought. So divine love kept us high in the heavens, and eros brought us down into the earth. Now, we're going to go through a switch here together, and I don't know if I can do it. But if you help me, we might be able to do it. We have to bring something real into a time and a place where real has yet to show up. Where real used to be here, it will be here. But in this time, it's not showing up. We don't know how to be real. We know how to look toward being real. We know how to a little bit remember what it was like when we were real, but we don't know how to constitute ourselves, to reconstellate ourselves to be real. And the first step that would change that is if we discovered again how to love. Now, this is an outrageous thing that I'm saying to you, and I want you to consider it. I want you to tune into it. I want you to see what it means to you in your heart. I have experienced that love was circulating freely through the world in the 1960s and much of the 1970s. I have experienced that love started disappearing from the world later in the 1970s and really extremely in the 1980s. I've experienced that love vanished from the world in the 1990s. I've experienced that early in the 21st century, love was so rare that when people talked about it, it made younger generations snigger. It made them feel uncomfortable because everybody knew they were talking about something that wasn't vital or real. And it has kept going that way. Recently, it has gotten to such an extreme that it's not even a real factor. People hardly even mention it any longer. In fact, at this point, all that people want is sex. They don't really want love. A lot of people would prefer some sex, but no love, thank you. Because love, in the Venusian sense, is a commitment of the soul to become filled with light and to give that light freely and openly to all those we love. Now, if we're going to live in a world without love, there's got to be something about it that means something, that has value, that is there for a purpose. That's what I know. That's what I am, is the one who always ferrets that out. So I've been searching now for many years for that purpose, for that revelation. Why did it have to go this far? Why does it have to keep going further? How can people keep going when they're not loving and being loved? What is the nature of this test and this trial? Is this really as gross and empty as it seems? Is it really true that hatred is now a big charge and rage is all the rage? But positive emotion is barely even thought about. Is it really possible that we are amnesiac toward what is involved when we give and receive love as the way of our life? Now, just to define something here, because I could be so misunderstood, I'm speaking of love in a Venusian way, in an ordinary consciousness way, in the way that we're trained to look at things love is doing just fine. By which I mean, just like every other major factor in life, love is busy doing its dance through the world as it always has, as it always will. Then what is this missing Venusian love? It's what happens when you care so much that it hurts. It's what happens when you forget yourself so easily and remember yourself in forgetting yourself. It's what happens when you actually experience spirit in all things, and it's natural and it's simple and it's obvious. It's what happens when you crawl back into the central chamber and you are there with it. I had a dream not long ago. In the dream, it was abundantly clear that the world was stripped of all good things. Everything was so barren, was so empty, was so strange. And then a voice came and it said, if you're going to live in a world like this one, what you need to do is to create a sanctuary, a sacred space in your life where spirit can dwell. And you have to keep carving out that space so that spirit can dwell there. And then spirit will come in where it's lacking everywhere. And you will be able to enkindle spirit again. And things will begin in a whole different octave. I'm feeling a lot of emotion here. Whew. My conviction is that the sword is broken, that we have forgotten, that we've cut the cord, that we're living through machine consciousness, not through human consciousness, that we're living through what mind says, not what the heart says. And my conviction is that that means everything. Because living that way, the child in us feels constantly abandoned and betrayed. cast aside, rejected, denied. And strangely enough, this doesn't cause me to feel despair or anguish. It causes me to feel, if we could go through a world like this one and still keep going to this point, what will it be like when we rediscover love? What will it mean when the only thing that makes life worthwhile comes back into currency and we not only receive it and respond to it, but we pass it on? We spread it everywhere. We give it currency and legitimacy by our regard for it, our cherishing of it, and our honoring of it. We have a chance to get real when being real has essentially lost its meaning. We have a chance to love again when we are convinced we don't know how to love. We're not getting any love and it all feels so bereft, so doomed, such a doomed space. When I first became aware that the lack of love in the world and my world was destroying me, was devouring me, it did alarm me tremendously. It really got to me. This happened in the first months of 2018 living in Colorado, and I was very, very ill, and I couldn't get any better because I was meeting this lack of love in the world everywhere I went, and I was internalizing it. I was turning it back on myself, and it was causing me to be so violently ill that it was dangerous, really dangerous. It was the one sickness I've ever been through that was the most dangerous. And when I was at the peak of the illness, which was in March of 2018, for a period of the first 3 weeks of March, every single night I had the same dreams. In these dreams, the world was about to go through this immense change during the 2020s, and I experienced these joyous, surging crowds of colorful people loving and living in this whole new way. And it came night after night, all night long, and it just surged through me. And this was my soul's response to the state I was going through physically. And I saw, it was conveyed to me that this was Venusia, that this was the real loving space, and that this was what was coming in the evolution. And it made no sense. How could that come when everything was so barren and devoid and not going anywhere? And yet, what my heart cried out to me during this time was that these dreams are prophetic, and this is the real story, and don't forget it. No matter what, don't forget it. Don't let anybody tell you that this is not going to happen. This is going to happen. I hope you can hear me. I hope I can hear myself. I hope anybody can hear anybody in this world now. Venus in 29 degrees Leo in the last moments in the month of Cancer wants to say that it will be possible during the summer of 2023. It will be possible for us to begin to turn this entire thing around. In that dream I had in 2018, the year that was told to me was 2023, and I still believe it. I still believe it. I still believe the beginning of the shift will be in 2023 and will take a few years, but it will begin rather intensely. I have found this year that the one in me who loves is starting to stir from the ashes, that the one in me who receives and gives love is remembering in depth and detail, is not willing to keep living the lie. Is that also happening for you? Do you feel these things, or am I alone in this? When I was first feeling these things, I wondered if I was alone, because I wasn't getting much response about all this. But now it's come to a different point. Now I know. I was very, very shaky with this stuff because I was so faced with my own past and my own karma and my own tendencies. And one of my tendencies, which has really, really blocked this Venusian revolution that I'm talking about now, what has most blocked it is like many of the people that I'm close to. I have this extreme reticence when it comes right down to it. It's very weird given my history, but it's true. I have this extreme reticence. It's like I don't want to say it and I don't want to show it and I don't want to do it and I don't want to be it and I don't want it anything. I just want to stay inside and be cozy and keep the secret and make sure that I never say much of anything really. I have such a strong tendency of that kind. So it takes an extreme time in evolution for me to talk this way. And I don't want to talk this way, but I have one more thing to say about it. What is Venusian love as it's most simplified? It's a place where you remember how to breathe. It's a place where you reach inside yourself and you realize that you are made of love and that there's a beauty in you that's beyond any possible external version, and that there is a living essence in you which radiates from the deepest source and can never be effaced, can never be taken away. And it's realizing that you are the salt of the earth and you want to bring it out and you don't want it to be hidden under a bushel. Venusian love is what happens when love breaks the world open and we realize what we're here for and we do it for real from the deepest heart of our being. I'm going to read those last couple paragraphs again, and I'm going to actually say goodbye to you now because I want to leave you with the entreatment of this Venusian state. And so I thank you so much for joining me. I thank you, Ellias, for bringing this through. I thank you, Mark, for being my teacher. And I thank all of us, every single human soul on the face of this earth, for the courage it takes to be here at this time and our willingness to be here at this time. Because I've said this already in the Holy Nights, but I'm going to say it again. I don't know much anymore these days, but one thing that I do know is that the only thing that we really want to do is be the love that we are, is to give the love that we have to give and receive the love. And that's it. It's that simple. Everything else is all the stuff of this world that needs tending to and is required, is a requirement of this world. And that's what's underneath all of it. And that's what we're digging through these layers to get to. Excuse me, I've got a little bit of a sniffle. So I'm going to read that part again, and then I'm just going to complete for the evening. And I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow on the 8th Holy Night, where we look at Alpha Omega, the asteroid that most people call, the comet that most people call Chiron, going retrograde at 20 degrees Aries. So here we go to complete our Venusian tour. What is Venusian love at its most simplified? It's a place where you remember how to breathe. It's a place where you reach inside yourself and you realize that you are made of love and that there's a beauty in you that's beyond any possible external version, and that there is a living essence in you which radiates from the deepest source and can never be effaced, can never be taken away. And it's realizing that you are the salt of the earth and you want to bring it out and you don't want it to be hidden under a bushel. Venusian love is what happens when love breaks the world open and we realize what we're here for and we do it for real from the deepest heart of our being. That's my invitation to you. That's my injunction to you. Thank you.